What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Living Life Rated PG. If you are here watching this channel, it is because you are a job seeker. You are a regular 9-to-5er. You're not somebody who's trying to start a business. You are trying to be great in the space that you are in, growing professionally, personally developing yourself, and just getting better and betterer. And so that's what we do over here. And so today I'm going to devote this entire video. I'm not going to give you my normal 3 bulleted list. Today, I really want to use this time to answer some of the questions that I've gotten over the past couple of weeks about why you need to put in the work in your resume. Why is it important, especially in 2021? So that's what I want to talk about today. So get your pens and your notepads and take your notes because class is in session.
No, please don't kill my vibe.
Okay, so I have gotten lots of DMs on my Instagram asking, I really just need some help with my resume. I've been out of work for a while. I really want to get back into my old job, but I haven't been doing it for a number of years and I haven't looked at my resume. How do I connect the dots? How do I all make it make sense? So let me tell you, I haven't taken any notes, but I'm just going to kind of like try to freestyle this, hit it with the beatbox in the background. I'm just going to go off the top of my head and answer a lot of these questions. So the first question that I want to ask is, or the first question that I want to answer is, first of all, why, I think I've answered this question so many times, but anyway, why should you update your resume more often than not? And I feel like the answer is obvious, but just in case it's not, it's because you're gonna forget stuff. You're gonna forget stuff. If you only look at your resume when you get hired and then not again until you get fired or until you need to look for a new job or what, there is so much space and time that has passed. You're just not going to remember all the stuff that happened, when you got hired 3 years ago, or God forbid it was more than 3 years ago, and now you're trying to update your resume so that you can jump back into the job market. There's just too much activity. There's too many experiences that you've had. There's too much stuff that you've done exceptionally well that you're going to forget. You're going to forget all those details. You're going to forget numbers. You're going to forget percentages. You're going to forget any savings, significant milestones. You're just going to forget. So that's why it's really important for you to always look at your resume. I recommend, and I've said this before, I recommend that you update your resume in time. When things happen, you need to make sure that you're adding it to your resume. But you also need to look at it all the time or oftentimes. Your performance review, those planning sessions, those goals, those strategic milestones that occur throughout the year, when you are planning for your performance review, and then when you have those performance conversations about whether or not you accomplish those goals, put that stuff in your resume because you want to be able to, so first of all, your performance conversations are related to your incentive and raises and bonuses and things like that. And so if those conversations lend themselves to talking about your accomplishments and the things that you did well, why would you not want to use that same opportunity to go and update your resume? Because all your success and accomplishments are being talked about in those conversations. So then once you get that feedback, just put it on your resume. That's the first thing. Okay, so you're interested in changing jobs, industries, things like that, but you're not really sure how to translate what you currently do on your resume so that you can post for something different. I think that's a really good question. The way that you do that is first you need to know what it is that you're trying to do. So if you are selling oranges currently, and you want to get into selling pineapples, then you need to look at jobs for people who are pineapple salespeople, right? Um, what are some of the qualifications that they have? What are the required skills? And what are the desired skills? Now, and understand this, required skills are the skills that you absolutely need to be able to demonstrate your effectiveness in this role. Required skills are the things that you just need to know these out of the gate to even be considered as a candidate. Desirables are those nice to haves, above and beyonds. If we can get them, great, because we'll definitely use them. They may not have anything to do with the current job, but we can definitely add some additional responsibilities to you if you've got these desired skills, right? So desired skills, don't look at a job posting and feel like, I'm not going to be able to do this because I don't have the desired skills. Most people applying for the role probably won't have the desired skills. That is why they are the desired skills. Okay. So first you need to make sure that you understand what a pineapple salesperson does. What tools are they using? What knowledge, skills, certifications, education, what are their proficiencies? What makes them good at a pineapple salesperson? And so now you need to be able to fill in the blanks. You need a map. Remember the matching card game when you were little? If you had a card that had a star on it, you needed to find one in the pile that also had a star on it. If you found two matching cards, you got a point. Same difference. If they have a specific skill or proficiency as a pineapple salesperson, and you have that same skill or proficiency as an orange salesperson, then you need to highlight that on your resume. Look at job postings for the role that you want to go into and make sure that you're able to connect what you have on your resume, your skills, your experience, your knowledge and background. Make sure that you're able to connect the dots to what's in that role. It's not always about the things that you do in your day-to-day that the recruiters and hiring managers are looking for. Yes, definitely in the interview, they're going to ask you, tell me about, kind of what your responsibilities were while you were in this role. But more often than not, when you are interviewing and they have already deemed you a formidable candidate, they're not asking you about, give me the specifics of your day-to-day. What they're looking for is, this is the role that I have. This is the type of person that I'm looking for. Tell me why I should hire you. They want to know if your experience and that you and your personality, you're able to translate what it is that you'll bring to the table that will be suitable enough to be able to do the job that they're hiring for. And so really that's how you make that connection. It's less about, my job as an orange salesperson was to sell oranges of a variety. It's not that. What they're really looking for is maybe the way that I sold oranges was I had to use this tool, the Fruitomatic. I don't know, I'm just making up stuff. You had to use a certain type of machine that weighed the fruit and then packaged the fruit and things like that. Because you have this specific skill using this certain tool or this certain technology, it can translate. And then you can show them how you're able to kind of bridge the gap between the two disciplines. Does that make sense? Leave me a note in the comments and let me know if it made sense to you or if you're still feeling confused. But that's really kind of how that works. It's not about telling them that this is what you did day to day. Really, it's can your knowledge and skill and background be able to bridge the gap? So can you transition from oranges to pineapples because you have certification knowledge or educational background or some type of proficiency or some type of education or skill or experience that will allow you to do the job. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Let me think about, I think I'm going to give you three. So the first one was the why. Why is it so important that you update your resume? Because your resume represents you. And I say this often, I probably say this more, I am probably beating this point to death. But I'm hoping that it drives the point home. Your resume represents you. It is you. It is you on paper. It is you on a job board. It is you on LinkedIn when you, physical you, are not available. And so you want to make sure that you show it the same love and care and respect and time and energy, because you want it to be able to represent you well. You also want to make sure that it's telling the story that you want to portray and the story that you want to convey to recruiters and hiring managers. And I say this because recruiters and hiring managers, in that order, right? Depending on the job industry, I am in technology. So more often than not, if I were to get in the job market and look for a job, I'm probably not going to socialize with hiring managers directly. Kind of that day doesn't really exist that much. A lot of organizations will work through agencies, because it opens them up to a broader pool of candidates. And it will introduce a screening piece that they may not have internally. And so you can scan somebody, you can hire an agency and they can scan the candidates for you. And then it does not, it relieves them of the pressure of kind of entering into a long-term relationship with a candidate, because it may not work out after 6 months. You just may not feel like you need them. Or at the end of 6 months, all the work is done. You may not need to continue that expense. I love working with recruiters more than I love working with kind of direct hiring managers, simply because I am a professional consultant, professional contractor. I kind of like the fluidity of when something ends. I have the option to stay or, go work on another project. I like a little diversity. But recruiters will really kind of help you through that process. And so I highly recommend working with a recruiter, identifying an agency that can really support you and your needs as you are kind of navigating the job market, because again, they have access and visibility to things that you may not necessarily see on the job boards. And then if you get a good recruiter, they will shop you. I've had the wonderful privilege of working with a couple of recruiters that, I am still connected to. Even, we have our differences, but I'm still connected to them because they're really good at their job. So I highly recommend, if a recruiting relationship is something that, you might be interested in, definitely pursue that. Because I feel like it just gives you a different type of edge in the job market. So that's that. Again, your resume, it needs to be an active part of your career. Like, you should not use it to get a job and then now you got to dust it off and it's 5 years later and you're trying to find something different. What did you do the last 5 years? I'm waiting. Tell me. Come on. Exactly. Most people can't even remember what happened 5 hours ago. For the last 5 years, you're going to try and recap your entire career. That's just irresponsible, y'all. It's irresponsible. I know it's irresponsible personally, because Lord knows I can't remember stuff from... Exactly. I can't remember stuff, period. Okay, so how can you translate your current skills and abilities into a new industry or a new role altogether? Look at job postings. Definitely go and find, job postings. Look at other career profiles. find the information related to that job and see if you have those attributes that they're looking for, so that you can prove your ability to actually be able to do that job. The last thing, how long should my resume be? How long is your resume? I guess that's my first question. How long is your resume? If you're telling me that it's 4 pages long, maybe we need to scale it back a lot. I would say no more than 2 pages. That is my opinion based on my experience. Now, I've had recruiters that have said, "Oh, can we get this down to 1 page?" No. No. No, you can't. You can't get it down to 1 page, because I actually have extensive work history and accomplishments, and even cleaned and tidy. 1 page. 1 page is not going to work for me. But when I work with clients, I really try to encourage them to get their resume down to 2 pages. I believe that most resumes can be crafted on 2 pages once you look at your overall copy. How much unnecessary verbiage do you have on your resume? And sometimes people have so many bullets. I don't want to say their bullets are unnecessary, but it talks a lot about very kind of specific daily tasks that may only be things that they did in their role. But so keep in mind this: when you're applying for a job, you definitely want your personality to be part of the equation, because they're hiring you, right? So it's also those personal characteristics and attributes that they're looking for. And in the interview, you get to connect with things like that. But your primary goal is to be able to highlight and do maybe like a 1-to-1 match. They're looking for this, I've done this. They're looking for that, I've done that. So the things that they're not asking about, you probably shouldn't include it on your resume. So if you were responsible to deliver mail to the office floor, and you did that as part of a rotation because maybe y'all were short-staffed and everybody kind of pitched in and did whatever. If you delivered mail, but the job that you're applying for has nothing to do with you delivering mail, I don't care that you delivered mail. Don't waste precious space on your resume to talk about something that is not going to lend itself to you getting the job that you're looking for. So when you remove all of those additional line items off your resume and only answer the questions that are being asked, I guess that's the best way to say it. If the job posting is asking for a specific skill set, only answer whether or not you have that skill set. Don't give them all the extra stuff that you were responsible to do in the role that you had, because it has no value. It's going to be a lot of extra lines on your resume, and the person who's looking at it, they're looking for some keywords and phrases, and if that ain't it, they're probably not going to keep going through your resume digging for good content when you've just given them a whole lot of fluff. So I think every resume can be cleaned up and scaled back to 2 pages. And the reason that I believe that is because more often than not, people fill their resumes up with things that no one cares about. Don't put stuff on your resume that is not important and will not push your resume to the front of the line, will not make you stand out as the only candidate, not just a formidable candidate, but the only candidate. Because that's the end result. You want to be the only person that's on their mind when they look at your resume. I don't care how pretty your resume is, any of that stuff. If it looks like a giant ink blot because you've got so much content on there and that we can't get to the nuts and bolts of what we're trying to look for, we're just going to move it to the side. And another thing you need to think about, most of the time, the person who's going to hire you is the last person who will actually get to your resume. So before you even get to the person who has the ability to make the decision because they have the budget, and it's their role, you're probably going to deal with a recruiting coordinator who is somebody who knows nothing about the job that you are applying for. They've probably never met the client that's hiring it. They've probably never met the hiring manager. They are probably the least qualified person to look at your resume. They have been given specific instructions to look for certain information, certain words, certain phrases, certain skills, certain things. So if your resume has a whole bunch of other stuff, that person's going to get rid of your resume really fast. And so you don't want to put yourself in those situations, with just including a lot of extra words and a lot of extra text and things like that. And that stuff has no value. So that was a lot. Yeah. So, coming soon, because I know a lot of people can't always afford to hire somebody to clean up their resume and do the work on their behalf. Or sometimes they don't want to. Sometimes you just want to understand how you're supposed to do this on your own. What should you be looking for? What are the tools that you should be using? How do you set this up? How do you understand the structure of your resume? Is it even kind of the right layout? Is it the right format for what I'm trying to accomplish? I understand all of that, and I've been there too. And so I will be releasing the Resume Rebrand online course. It will be pre-recorded so you can watch it at your leisure. And what it will do is walk you through a lot of this information that I've just talked about in this video, and some additional information. How you want to use LinkedIn, how to use sites like Glassdoor, just to be able to compare roles and profiles, to look at attributes. How do you use the software that you probably already have on your laptops or your desktops, and how do you use those plugins to make sure that you are looking and talking about relevant information and you're able to connect the dots in a way that's meaningful, and will have a valuable return for you. So you definitely want to stay tuned to this channel. You want to stay tuned and plugged in and subscribed to my website, livingliferatedpg.com. I'll be talking a lot more about that. But this is not just to sell you the course. This is also to make sure that you are still connected, because these types of resources, this kind of information, I provide regularly. I have a free resume checklist on my site as well, and that will also help you with some tools and pointers. I use a tool, it's a free tool, Grammarly. You probably have heard about Grammarly, but it is a great way to make sure that your copy, and your copy really is just your writing, the words that you're using, and the way that you have, aligned your sentence structures and the content that you're providing, just to make sure that it is good, it is clear, it is crisp. So I definitely recommend that you are using tools like Grammarly. I am a Grammarly affiliate, but even if I weren't, I am using Grammarly. So, but you definitely want to use tools like Grammarly, or in Word, you want to use your thesaurus to make sure that you're not saying certain words over and over and over again, because they tend to lose their meaning, or they lose their essence and their value. So there's so much information that I am providing, because this is my passion project. I remember a time when I was trying to grow my career, I was trying to grow my salary, and I had no direction. I had nobody there to kind of hold my hand and help me navigate through the spaces that I was trying to get into. And so now that I've been able to do that, I want to make sure that I leave some sort of legacy and help as many people as I can. There will always be those free tools. that I'm providing, but then there will always be other opportunities to peel back the curtains and get a little more information. And the Resume Rebrand online coaching course is definitely one of those opportunities. So if you are looking to jump into the job market this year, I highly recommend that you are subscribed and plugged into livingliferatedpg.com, because you want to make sure that you have access to the information that I share. And there's a lot of things that I plan to do this year. Definitely holding lives with recruiters in this area, and they will be sharing job requisitions as they have them available, and kind of giving you some additional free game. So you won't know when that happens if you're not subscribed to my site. It is what it is. So make sure that you are following me on my social media at Living Life Rated PG, on this YouTube page, on my Instagram, on my Pinterest, and on Facebook. I can't believe I'm on Facebook.